Yātaḥ kunja-vihāri kupitana-vālabha kirivarata kupitana-vālabha kirivarata Yashoda-nandana pradajanadan Yashoda-nandana pradajanadan Yamunatiravanata Yamunatiravanata Gaurahari kunja-vihāri Jaya-radha-madhava kunja-vihāri kupitana-vālabha kirivarata Jaya kupitana-vālabha kirivarata Yashoda-nandana pradajanadan Yashoda-nandana pradajanadan Yamunatiravanata Yamunatiravanata Jaya-radha-madhava kunja-vihāri Jaya-radha-madhava kunja-vihāri kupitana-vālabha kirivarata Jaya kupitana-vālabha kirivarata Yashoda-nandana pradajanadan Yashoda-nandana pradajanadan Yamunatiravanata Yamunatiravanata Jaya-radha-madhava kunja-vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava kunja-vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava kunja-vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava kunja-vihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parivrajagacharya Astrutarisadasishana His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Gaura Premanande Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're gonna read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Vidura's talks with Maitreya, text 12, yeah. Munir, vivakṣur, bhagavad-guṇānāṁ, sakhāpi, te bhāratam, aha, kṛṣṇaḥ, yasmin, nṛṇāṁ, grāmya-sukhānuvādair, matir, gṛhītā, nu, hareḥ, kathāyām, munir vivakṣur bhagavad-guṇānāṁ, sakhāpi te bhāratam aha kṛṣṇaḥ, yasmin nṛṇāṁ grāmya-sukhānuvādair, matir gṛhītā nu hareḥ kathāyām, munir vivakṣur bhagavad-guṇānāṁ, sakhāpi te bhāratam maha kṛṣṇaḥ yasmin grāmya-sukhānuvādair matir gṛhītā kathāyām munir vivakṣur bhagavad-guṇānāṁ sakhāpi te bhāratam maha kṛṣṇaḥ yasmin grāmya-sukhānuvādair matir gṛhītā hareḥ kathāyām munir vivakṣur bhagavad-guṇānāṁ sakhāpi te bhāratam aha kṛṣṇaḥ yasmin grāmya-sukhānuvādair matir gṛhītā hareḥ kathāyām munir vivakṣur bhagavad-guṇānāṁ sakhāpi te bhāratam aha kṛṣṇaḥ yasmin grāmya-sukhānuvādair matir gṛhītā hareḥ kathāyām munir vivakṣur bhagavad-guṇānāṁ sakhāpi te bhāratam aha kṛṣṇaḥ yasmin grāmya-sukhānuvādair munir gṛhītā hareḥ kathāyām. Ladies, munir vivakṣur bhagavad-guṇānāṁ sakhāpi te bhāratam aha kṛṣṇaḥ yasmin grāmya-sukhānuvādair matir gṛhītā hareḥ kathāyām munir vivakṣur bhagavad-guṇānāṁ sakhāpi te bhāratam aha kṛṣṇaḥ yasmin grāmya-sukhānuvādair matir gṛhītā hareḥ kathāyām munir vivakṣur bhagavad-guṇānāṁ sakhāpi te bhāratam aha kṛṣṇaḥ yasmin grāmya-sukhānuvādair matir gṛhītā hareḥ kathāyām. Munir, the sage vivakṣur described Bhagavat of the personality of Godhead. Guṇānāṁ, transcendental qualities. Sakhā, friend. Api, also. Te, your. Bhāratam, the Mahabharata. Has described kṛṣṇaḥ, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, yasmin, in which nṛṇāṁ, of the people, grāmya, worldly, sukhānuvādair, pleasure derived from mundane topics. Matir, attention. gṛhītā, just to draw towards. hareḥ, of the Lord. kathāyām, speeches of Bhagavad-gītā. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Your friend, the great sage Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, has already described the transcendental qualities of the Lord in his great work, the Mahabharata. But the whole idea is to draw the attention of the mass of people to Krishna Katha, Bhagavad-gītā, through their strong affinity for hearing mundane topics. Purport: the great sage Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa is the author of all Vedic literature, of which his works Vedanta Sutra, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Mahabharata are very popular readings. As stated in Bhagavatam 1.4.25, Srila Vyasadeva compiled the Mahabharata for the less intelligent class of men who take more interest in mundane topics than in the philosophy of life. The Vedanta Sutra was compiled for persons already above the mundane topics, who might already have tasted the bitterness of the so-called happiness of mundane affairs. The first aphorism of Vedanta Sutra is Athatu Brahma Jigyasa. It is only when one has finished the business of mundane inquiries in the marketplace of sense gratification can one make relevant inquiries regarding Brahman, the transcendence. Those persons who are busy with the mundane inquiries which fill the newspapers and other such literature are classified as Stri Shudra Dvija Bandhus, or women, the laborer class, and unworthy sons of the higher classes. Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. Such less intelligent men cannot understand the purpose of Vedanta Sutra, although they may make a show of studying the sutras in a perverted way. The real purpose of Vedanta Sutra is explained by the author himself in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And anyone trying to understand Vedanta Sutra without reference to Srimad Bhagavatam is certainly misguided. Such misguided persons who are interested in the mundane affairs of philanthropic and altruistic work under the misconception of the body as a self could better take advantage of the Mahabharata, which was specifically compiled by Srila Vyasadeva for their benefit. The great author has compiled the Mahabharata in such a way that the less intelligent class of men who are more interested in mundane topics may read the Mahabharata with great relish, and in the course of such mundane happiness can also take advantage of Bhagavad-gītā, the preliminary study of Srimad Bhagavatam for the Vedanta Sutra. Srila Vyasadeva has no interest in writing a history of mundane activities other than to give less intelligent persons a chance for transcendental realization through Bhagavad-gītā. Vidura's reference to the Mahabharata indicates that he had heard of the Mahabharata from Vyasadeva, his great father, his real father, while he was away from home and was touring the places of pilgrimage. Munir vivakṣur bhagavad-guṇānāṁ sakhāpi te bhāratam kṛṣṇaḥ yasmin nṛṇāṁ grāmya-sukhānuvādair matir gṛhītā hareḥ kathāyām. Your friend, the great sage Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, has already described the transcendental qualities of the Lord in his great work, the Mahabharata. But the whole idea is to draw the attention of the mass of people to Krishna Katha, Bhagavad-gītā, through their strong affinity for hearing mundane topics. So it's a little puzzling, the formulation here of the verse translation, as you may also notice, because first the translation says that he has described the transcendental qualities of the Lord in the Mahabharata. But then the next sentence says that the Mahabharata is, as Prabhupada also elaborates in his purport, that the Mahabharata is, catering to the desire of ordinary people to hear mundane topics, which normally we would say, but that's not Krishna Katha. So what does it mean, this first sentence here? We could try to give some explanation, some interpretation. But if we take the whole picture, the whole context, then we don't have to pay too much attention to that, because the obvious point, main point here, is that the Mahabharata is like, catching the fish. People, they want to hear about, as my Guru Maharaj Sridhar Swami, he said, sex and violence. That was how he summarized what is the Mahabharata. This is, of course, yeah, okay. I cannot hear from your point of view, so thank you. I hear myself clearly, but is it better now? Okay. Okay. So, Yeah, sex and violence. That's what everybody likes to hear about. Even in the days of the Mahabharata, when that was one of the main topics of discussion. So, actually, one thing that we can appreciate, how the whole, of course, the Mahabharata is not. It's actually history. It's an account of the most important historical events of the time, and so the narration simply follows the historical events. So we can appreciate how these events, and following that, the narration of the Mahabharata was orchestrated in such a perfect way by Krishna, because Mahabharata, of course, is divided into two parts. Basically, the first part, all the events that led up to the great battle of Kurukshetra, and the second part describes that battle at great length with all the violence and bloodshed, profusion of carnage of beyond description. So, and right in the middle between those two sections, there is there Krishna spoke the Bhagavad-Gītā. So, you know, the tension in the first part has been building to a level which is almost intolerable. Just like, you know, I've been a little dallying in Western classical music, and they speak about this also, the technique of building tension up to an almost intolerable point, and then of course the tension eventually is released. But before it's released, just when everybody is gathered on the battlefield and it's, you know, the atmosphere is just electric. It's just, you cannot imagine how, you know, how much tension is there on that battlefield. Now it's happening, you know, finally the Pandavas, they get the chance to get justice, and the culprits, they will, you know. But then something happens. The thing that should not happen. The main fighter on the side of the Pandavas, Arjuna, he becomes mental. He decides, I'm not going to fight. I cannot do it. It's too much. Oh no. You know, he starts crying like a woman. And so everybody, you know, of course we know the story, but still, you know, it's this conversation is so crucial. You know, now it's up to Krishna. He has to talk Arjuna out of his mental platform and convince him he must fight. So we are going to follow this conversation, you know, like, what is he saying now, and how does Arjuna react, and like that. It's just, you know, you can appreciate how perfectly, how expertly Krishna has orchestrated the whole thing just to draw our attention to the Bhagavad-Gītā. So, yeah, Krishna knows what he's doing. Prabhupada, he speaks here about the three main literary works of Srila Vyasadeva, Vedanta Sutra, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Mahabharata. And he speaks about how he talks about how Mahabharata, as I mentioned, Mahabharata is for the common man. But then he points out that the common men, they sometimes make the mistake of delving into the Vedanta Sutra, which is, as he says, the Vedanta Sutra was compiled for persons already above the mundane topics, who might already have tasted the bitterness of the so-called happiness of mundane affairs. The first aphorism of Vedanta Sutra is Atatu Brahma Jigyasa. It is only when one has finished the business of mundane inquiries in the marketplace of sense gratification can one make relevant inquiries regarding Brahman, the transcendence. Those persons who are busy with the mundane inquiries which fill the newspapers and other such literatures, which is not good English, it's literature, there's no prologue, anyway. Are classified as satrēṣu dvija bandhus, or women, the laborer class, and unworthy sons of the higher classes, brahmanas, kshatriyas, and vaishyas. Such less intelligent men cannot understand the purpose of Vedanta Sutra, although they may make a show of studying the sutras in a perverted way. So I have a little something I would like to share with you in this connection. Of course, in one sense, these less intelligent classes, they are victims of Shankaracharya's Sharira Bhasha. It's not simply their invention, this misinterpretation, twisting of Vedanta Sutra. He did, in one sense, a great disservice by misleading them to interpret the Vedanta Sutra in an impersonal way. But not everyone is less intelligent like that. In fact, there was one German Sanskrit scholar whose name was, he's German, he was German, but he had a French name. His name was Georges Thibault. I don't know how the Germans pronounce it. I know French because I lived 10 years in France. But he was an eminent Sanskrit scholar. Prabhupada remarked at one time that the German Sanskrit scholars, they were better than the Indian Pandits. And I think he was an example. He had, I think he had a position in some Sanskrit university or college in Varanasi of all places, which I think is a main place of learning Sanskrit studies in India. So that shows something, if he could, and he lived for many years in India actually. And he was a collaborator with Max Müller. If you heard the name Max Müller, he was also German, but he lived, I think he spent a good part of his life in England, and he compiled the famous, at least among scholars, the encyclopedic collection of sacred books of the East. This is around the turn of the 20th century, a little before. So this Georges Thibault I mentioned, he was a he contributed with a translation of the Vedanta Sutra. But as it is customary among academics, they make what is called a critical text study. And they do this by, taking in different... I have to say, he translated the Vedanta Sutra along with the Sharira Bhasha. And in order to have the objective viewpoint, he wanted to see, are there other ways of looking at, the Vedanta Sutras than Shankaracharya's? So, in order he researched. So he read the Sribhiḥ, Ramanujacharya's commentary, and much to his surprise, as a very good Sanskrit scholar, he could see that the Sribhiḥ, just from the point of language, the Sanskrit meaning of the words, it was a much more natural commentary. It was Ravindra. I got this from all this information, at least partly. I did some research myself also, but there was Ravindra Swarup who made me aware of this. So he said, the way he said it, he said that Shankaracharya, he actually tortured the text to squeeze out his impersonal interpretation. I think it's quite a nice way. He tortured the text. Because, Sanskrit is of course such a language that the words, they have many meanings and many layers also. So a text can be interpreted in different ways. And we know this from the Bhagavatam also, how, when the demons, they were, for instance, to give an example of this, when the demons, they were, blaspheming Krishna, for instance, Shishupal, the acharyas, they have turned around their blasphemy and shown how it can be understood actually as praise, because Sanskrit is like that. So, but this of course can be a problem, because then you can do things like what Shankaracharya did. But this scholar, Georges Thibault, he could see what Shankaracharya had done. He had really gone a long way to, it was not the natural, the logical way of understanding the Vedanta Sutras. And he wrote that in his translation as a commentary, his personal commentary. And boy, did he get in trouble, because in those days, especially, everybody accepted that the Shankaracharya's commentary is the commentary, the authoritative commentary. So they got mad at him. They wrote, and they criticized him to pieces. Who is this guy? Some German blecher, and he's coming and he wants to tell us what the Vedanta Sutra is all about, like that. They got mad. So anyway, you can go and you can look it up yourselves, because they are the Max Müller's the whole sacred collection is available on the internet. So he after having made that translation of the Vedanta Sutra together with the Sharira Bhasha, he made a full translation of the Sribhiḥ. And in the preface of that, to that translation of the Sribhiḥ, he responds to this criticism. obviously he felt hurt, that they were so harsh, dealing with him so harshly. And he expresses that he felt this was unfair. Because as he's writing, he says, I don't claim to be, I'm not a philosopher, I don't claim to know what the Vedanta Sutra is about. I'm a linguist, I'm a Sanskrit man. So I'm not making a judgment here, what is the Vedanta Sutra about. It's simply an observation from the point of view of language, that the Sribhāsha is a more direct interpretation. So, anyway, I think this is interesting, that, it's not, actually people who are or were intelligent, who know Sanskrit, they can see, it's not so difficult to see that what the Vedanta Sutra is actually saying. What is the intention of, what seems to be the intention of the author, we should say, to be objective. I think this is interesting. Sorry. I have some other. So another thing is that here, of course, there's Prabhupada gives justice to Vyasadeva's presentation of the Mahabharata. Although we also know from the Bhagavatam how his spiritual master Narada Muni actually criticized him quite heavily for, diverting the attention of the common people away from Krishna Katha, catering to their material desires and not giving them that which will actually help them. The summum bonum, Latin, it means the ultimate good. And he instructed him, you write the Srimad Bhagavatam. That will satisfy you, and it will satisfy the whole world. So, both things are there. The Mahabharata has a purpose, but the Srimad Bhagavatam is really what we should study. So in this way, there's a great plan. The Lord has a great plan to bring us all back to His shelter. And Srila Vyasadeva, he played an important role in the carrying out of that plan. But it's a very great plan, and there's many different parts of that plan. And we are, of course, here seeing right in front of our eyes a part of that plan unfold, just behind us, in the form of the TOVP. Anyway, another part of that plan, I have, since I was a small kid, I was always fascinated by history. My aunt, she commented once, I was very small and was sitting on the lap of my father, and she was saying, oh, they are talking like two grown-up men. I was, talking about the great events of the world, as we say, the wings, the flapping of the wings of history. So anyway, that's my contamination. But even if you study mundane history, in the light of Krishna consciousness, you can see also how even in this great plan has many different aspects, and it's deeply intertwined even with mundane history. Like we know, to mention an important example, that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, his father was the pioneer in using the printing press for spreading Krishna consciousness, and especially Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, I think he coined the term, the Brihad Mridanga, and he famously established printing presses in his temple in the Bagh Bazaar. He installed the printing press just opposite the deities' chamber, so they could see the printing press, churning out literatures. So, but one surprising thing actually is that when was the Brihad Mridanga invented? Some of you must know, it's a well-known history. It was invented in Germany, of all places, in a city called Mainz, by a certain Mr. Gutenberg. When did he invent it? Around 1450 AD, which is just about 36 years before the advent of Lord Chaitanya. It was invented even before the Brihad Mridanga, and was invented before the advent of Lord Chaitanya. So, and it caused a complete revolution. Mundane historians, they unanimously agree it's the most important technological invention in the modern history of humanity. It completely changed the whole face of society. In a few short years, it spread like a wildfire. And it was such a big thing. But the big question is, why did it take so long for the followers of Lord Chaitanya to take advantage of that invention? Isn't it a little surprising? One could wonder, Of course, there's an answer to this. Obviously, it's all, as Ravindra also said, Krishna is in charge of the timing. So when the time was ripe, they took advantage. And especially, of course, Srila Prabhupada, everybody knows these quotes, this lecture that was also, excerpt was shown during the book distribution rewards, and he's saying, I took it from the mouth of my spiritual master that he was very fond of books. So therefore I'm saying print books, distribute books in as many languages, like that. And anyway, we are seeing that's another aspect of the great plan of the Lord to establish this movement as the unifying factor in a very bad age, where we are most unfortunate, but Lord Chaitanya is patit-pavan. Because we are so fallen, so on, therefore he is even more merciful. And we simply have to take advantage of that profuse mercy that he is showering on us. And anyway, one could talk a long time about the great plan of the Lord to spread the Yuga Dharma and to save us. I brought this book also, which you should be familiar with. It's published some 8 years ago, and which is actually a very important book, and which also describes further details of that great plan. But I think time is up. So I'll stop here, and if any of you have some questions or I don't know if there's a microphone, otherwise you'll have to
So Bondage, tīrtha-padaḥ and bhava-pradām, so we must mention about that.
Yeah.
Because he is the person who protects our Gaudiya Vaishnava theology.
Yeah.
Bondage, tīrtha-padaḥ, he is the disciple of great kṛṣṇaḥ.
Baladev Vidyabhushana.
So,
Yeah, of course.
and this book is available now in ISKCON.
Okay.
Translated by Manuswami Maharaj.
Okay.
Everyone can read this Govinda Bhasya,
Yeah.
So beautifully translated by Manuswami. Just to have a
Okay, I'll just repeat a summary of what he said because he doesn't have a microphone. That the Govinda Bhasya, which is Baladev's Vidyabhushana's commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, he was a Gaudiya Vaishnava, and he was responding to the challenge of the Pandits in what is it called, Jaipur, that there was no commentary by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, therefore they were not qualified to worship Govindaji. So he answered that challenge by writing the Govinda Bhasya. And that Govinda Bhasya is now available in a translation by Bhanuswami. So, little advertisement for Bhanuswami's publications. Very prolific author. There's amazing output from him of all kinds of commentaries by the acharyas on the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-gītā. He translated also the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and so on. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Anything else? We still have 5 minutes we have to fill out. We can also stop. Hare Krishna.
This Maharaj is not